Jon Jones one, I didn't really know all that backstory.
Hmm.
So when you told me everything and I was putting all the pieces together and then I rewatched it, I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening here.
And you like
It-
how I had the
went
B-roll
off.
too, so it all kind of like was in like
Well,
chronological order.
and you went off too on it, and I was like, okay, now I see. It's been a week, so how do you feel?
So I
Over
mean,
it?
yeah. So I mean, there's been all these new weird developments, right? He's like tweeting about how. Okay, so actually, what's it called? We talked a little bit because you might even forget this. Last week at the time, John hadn't said anything about like. I think there was something I put in the video that he hadn't said yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was the part where he said he's done.
Yeah, you put that. You said he's
I
done.
put that in the video, but I think last week Wednesday when we did the podcast, he hadn't said that on social
Mm,
media yet. That's what
okay.
I'm trying to say. So
It was
that's
a
what I
new.
should. Yeah, so that's what I should like. That's the date back to where I'll be reacting to, I guess. So
Hmm.
with that video, like when he said he's done, I don't really believe it. You
I
know
don't
what I
believe
mean?
it
Like
either.
like
I don't
when
believe it
and
either.
I find it weird. You know me though. I find it really weird how the blogs they like repost it. Like if you notice, I didn't repost the video where he says he's done. Only on YouTube for the special viewers, but on Instagram and stuff, I'm not gonna keep blowing up this story that's like mediocre. Like he's having a conversation with another grown man. The guy says you have 10 years left. He's like, I'm done. I'm done. That's all he says, and everybody takes it and runs a mile with it.
So let me ask you this. Let's get in the inside mind of Perry Punch
All
here.
right.
Is the reason why is because you feel like the other media outlets are just more clout chasing? But what's your view on all that? Why? How?
Because okay, in a simple term, because it's not like I think too deeply, but I like genuine, right? You want to know the real inside of me? I don't think too deeply about it. It's more of a real off put right when I see it. Like,
Mm,
for example, I see the Jon Jones thing. I just told you when I watched that video for myself, right? Because I'm also always looking for a news story. I guess this is how it works out. I'm always looking for a news story. I saw that Jon Jones video, right? And then I think to myself, oh, it's nothing. Move on. But then I
okay.
have to see another 10
Right.
blogs posting about it. And it's like, I thought this was nothing. You guys are all posting about it, creating this story that really doesn't have any meaning because it's so predictable. John's going to come out and renege. So what's the point in
Right.
wasting your time posting about this when we all know John's going to come out 2 or 3 days from now and be like, no, I don't know if I'm really retired, which he just did today. I don't know if I would really call it retired. And it's the same kind of sad story. We've seen it a million times. So for me, it's like I like to post about more finalized stories. Like
Okay.
I'm not going to be posting about in the middle the whole time where John says this, John says that, John says this, John says that. Until there's a definitive thing to say and a real news thing to report on, I'll be like, okay, John's retired.
Hey, but Whack 100 does it. Adam 22 does it.
They do it, and we reacted on the YouTube to some degree, but okay, let me put it like this too. It sets the bar a little bit low. I think there's better work that can be done. Instead of everybody reposting the Jon Jones said I'm done, quote unquote, and then gonna assume that means retirement and done with fighting, it's just rage baiting. It's like the
Mm.
same thing as when Bo Nickel posted that he's 225 pounds overweight.
Well, it's the same thing as when Whack 100 goes on Clubhouse and be like, oh, blah, 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 this is what happened, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same shit.
It's the same shit. It's the same thing. Sometimes I do it. I'll get a little rage bait going if I got an interview. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Comes with the territory. I'm just not a fan of it. And it's annoying when everybody reposts the same thing, is it not? Maybe that's just me.
It's crazy because I see it in so many different industries.
Hmm.
It's just part of the game almost, right? Rap news, there's going to be 20, 40 outlets are going to post all the same shit, you know?
Yeah.
MMA news, there's going to be 10 or 20 outlets that are going to post the same shit. It just happens like that as part of it. But it's interesting because you look at it differently. And so that's what intrigues me is like, I wonder why he looks at it that way. And now fast forward to where Jon Jones is right now. Honestly, now I kind of agree with you from last week because I was almost, I always seem like I'm on the outside looking in.
Hmm.
I'm the last one finding out about it.
And yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why when you tell me, it's always my initial reaction, like,
Yeah.
oh. Well, that's what happened.
And that's why I told you check out these other stories that we're gonna talk about this week.
And that's what I figured too. Is like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna watch it live so you get my initial reaction. And then
you didn't watch it.
No, I did it on Spike.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You didn't like that. You don't like getting told what to do.
No, and I want you to see my initial reaction, and I want you to yell at me on more shows. Like, dude, this dude fucking.
Okay, well then let's make sure it's a good reaction.
All right.
Because we're not just gonna have this. Yes, you want me to yell at you? We're not just gonna have this. We're not gonna have this where it's like, okay, I watched it, and that's the. We need an opinion, and so if you can develop an opinion after watching it,
you want me to stand on something?
I want you to share a thought on it. Yeah.
All right, I did. Okay, so I did watch. Should we go into the BJ pin?
Yeah, but let me say one other thing about what we were talking about, and then we'll go into BJ Penn.
I watched it a little bit.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Damn, Jacob's over here cracking the whip and shit,
okay,
bro.
you just told me I gotta be hard on my boy. I'm trying to be. I don't like to be hard, but anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, the posting things, right? This is the other thing, and maybe I'm just in my own lane. I don't even know sometimes, but it's like I posted BJ Penn, right, and I posted Nate Diaz today. That story. 90% of the blogs that posted the Jon Jones claims he's retired story, they didn't post either of those two. Those are the two biggest, most viral stories I posted today.
Especially with like no big UFC pay-per-view fight coming, that's the most relevant, like, hot news. I agree with you.
Right, but unfortunately, you know what that takes? That takes time.
Okay.
That takes 3 minutes, right, to watch that video of Jake Shields. This is what I did. This is the time I took out of my day. To make the Jake Shields post and Nate Diaz post, I had to watch a 3-minute clip of Jake Shields. Then I had to go watch a full podcast he did to confirm that to confirm certain details, whether or not they left the show. That's Jake Shields confirmed that. So I could now go on my Instagram and say, Nate Diaz and Jake Shields, they left the show after this brawl that ensued, right? But that took like an hour out of my day just for that one post. Then you got BJ Penn. You know what I mean? I went on his Instagram. I looked at his last 2 posts, right? I translated them, replayed them like several times, right? If you see on Twitter, I broke down the transcript, right? So all this takes time to like learn about the story. You know what doesn't take time? Jon Jones saying I'm done and translating that to Jon Jones announces he's retired. How much that is how much time that takes. Right there. I just gave it to you.
Breaking news. All right.
You know what I mean? But okay, so that's why I don't really appreciate sometimes when the bloggers repost all this bullshit, because I find them super lazy. All they want to do is repost tweets. It's really all they want to do, repost tweets.
He said it, I didn't say it.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, coming in hot.
And shout out to all the blogs that watched the Joaquin Buckley interview, that be reposting it, posting clips. Shout out to you boys.
Yeah, they know that's hot fire right there.
Yeah, I got a couple reposts, so I'm happy about that for sure. Shout out to you boys.
Yeah.
You guys are doing real work. Watching my interview, you know what I mean? Real work.
Well, you know, I will, just before we move on this Jon Jones thing.
Sure.
Retire then, but it's all a game. This is all a game. It's all a fucking drama novella that he's creating. But I agree with you, bro. It's like, you're just it's almost like he's fucking with Tom's mind at the same time.
Yes,
and
that's
so
part of it.
Tom right now has to play a mental warfare he has to play the long game. He has to play chess with him, honestly, bro. He really does. And he has to keep himself in that gym fucking fired the fuck up. And I hope he's just adding more fuel to the fire. Every time he does something, all right, here's another fucking log. All right, I'm a
okay, so here is why I've been saying, right? I think you're kind of, I may have been, how do I put this? Because you just said John is trying to mess with Tom, and Tom needs to really lock in and play that mental game back, right? And so that's why I've been saying it's also in how you present yourself. If John is doing this telenovela, right, on his end, then Aspinall needs to write his own telenovela. And that's why I've been saying Aspinall needs to say, I'm undisputed champion. That's your story. You can lie. You can lie. You know what I mean?
With that.
That's my story. I'm undisputed champion. I don't care about Jon Jones anymore. I'm going to fight the next contender. I do not want to wait for Jon Jones.
Yeah, who's next? Who's next?
Cyril gone.
Line him up,
Stop
Dana.
mentioning Jon Jones. Just stop mentioning him. next YouTube video, next Instagram post from Tom Aspinall, I don't want to hear a word about Jon Jones. I want to hear that you're the undisputed champion. Jon Jones announced he's retired, and you are going to fight Ciryl Gane or the next contender on your date. Drop a month. Drop a month that you want to fight. Say, I'm looking to fight a return on this date against this person. I don't care if you haven't talked to the UFC. I don't care about any of that. These guys need to start creating their own reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perception is reality. Think about that. Perception is reality. If you can cause a perception, a public perception, even through deceiving, right? Even through deceit and lies, that public perception will now force the UFC's hand to make it happen for you.
Right. And because now after learning all of this, and like you said, and here's my other thing, bro. So even with, okay, this leads into this brawl. Mm-hmm. Jon Jones was there, right?
Yeah, that was Jon Jones' boy who he had with the pigtails. You know who I'm talking about, right?
So, yeah.
That's his boy. Get your boy, Jon.
But here's my thing. So what if he gets injured?
Jon.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you even asked me that.
So
no, you asked me that last week too.
You're doing all this extra shit, and you're putting yourself in this position where, like, it happened before he got injured. Right. And that was just during training. Anything could happen. Bro, he could fall off the moped and crack his skull. Break it. You know, numerous things could happen, bro.
Right. Well, okay, the what if is hard because what if Tom Aspinall breaks his leg too?
But at least he's not like doing outside activities, outside curricular activities that if you're going to get hurt, at least be like, oh, well, I was at least training.
Like riding on someone else's moped on the back. Right. That sounds like an easy, stupid way to get injured.
100%. The brawl today, very possible, not today, but when they recorded it, very possible that something does happen. It didn't, but you're giving yourself more chances for something to happen to exclude yourself from this conversation, where then you would put yourself in a position to not even fight.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to play that game, I think if that were to happen, hypothetically speaking, that's probably Jon's like one. Okay. So Jon can't do any wrong, right? Jon can't do no wrong. He's the prince in the UFC. If that happens, best believe everything is gone for him. Dana's taking that title, you know, and it'll be whenever Jon wants to come back. So I guess that's the answer. They'll strip him if he gets injured.
You're playing and he's playing with fire. You know, he really is. He's playing with fire. Half of it I like. The other half it's this equation, because we could roll out a month from now. Oh, guess what happened to Jon Jones? Fucking knew it. Knew it.
Right. But okay, so one other thing I want to just get your thoughts on. In one of the posts you made, right? I think you said something like should Dana force Jon Jones to fight? And so Dana can't force Jon Jones to fight. You know what I mean?
I mean, he could try to press him.
Is that where you're going with it? You think, because you asked me, right? Who's to blame? And I answered your question last week. People didn't watch. I said Dana's to blame. So let's return the favor a little bit. Who is to blame? Because I feel like that's where you're kind of getting at it too a little bit.
Well, in a way it is. It is like, who is to blame? Because if Dana stood firmer on his stance to be like, no, these are the two options, Jon. Instead of just letting Jon just create his own fucking reality TV show.
Run wild with it.
Run wild. Not even like, not the reality TV show he's doing now, just in general.
In general, I hear you.
He's driving the car right now.
He is.
Dana's like following in the fucking caravan in another car trying to stay up with them.
Right.
You know? So he could just run that right off the thing, and like Dana's gonna like, do I jump with them or?
No, I hear you. And I'm with you on that one. So, but what do you think? Like,
I think it's both, and I think that Dana.
Okay, so you think it's both?
I think because Jon's like a kid. He's gonna push as far as he can,
right?
As far, just all the way to the edge, and Dana's gonna have to like try to ream him back. But in this circumstance, Dana could go out and say, "We're taking the belt." Why can't they say that?
Okay, so perfect.
Like you just said. You just said they did it to Islam.
They did it to Islam, yeah.
They did it to Ilya. So I'm actually basing on what some of the things that you told me.
Yeah. So last week, we always keep it fair, right? Even if we don't agree with the situation. So here's my thing, and it might even sound like I'm sticking up for Jon now, but here's how it all goes down. Last week,
I can up in a week.
Right. Last week I said that. I said, but again, we also said it's not apples to apples. That's the problem. It's not apples to apples. So they're really not. They're not identical situations. It's hard to compare it because the truth is, Islam's moving up, right? And Jon Jones isn't saying he's leaving his division. So that's why, unfortunately, we can't strip him off that merit. But my thing was,
it's not apples to apples,
right? But my thing was, you could leave Islam as the champ for longer, so he can achieve double champ status, and then pull the belt from him once he wins the second title, and then make Ilya versus Charles for the undisputed.
Yeah.
With that being said, you said that they fought in November, right? This is gonna. I gotta be fair to Jon Jones
in New York, right. Yeah.
And even Ariel's saying like it's time to strip Jon Jones. I was saying strip Jon Jones to some degree, but if I'm wrong, I'm not just gonna stick on what I said before. I gotta renege a little bit. So yeah, and so Jon fought in November. It's now June or May. That's a 6-month time span. I don't think of any champion who is somewhat or he hasn't said he's not going to defend it, right? He's just playing that game, like we're saying.
He's playing the game, right? Yeah.
But he hasn't said he's not going to defend it, so I don't see the merit to strip the champion within 6 months, flat out. I know that Tom, if you want to go back to when Tom last fought, it's way before last November, and that's where everybody's kind of, I think, intertwining the two. We're thinking Jon's been out since Tom last fought. And really, Jon's been out for 6 months, and then it's like, well, Tom's been out for over a year, so what about that? And it's like, well, that has nothing to do with Jon, like Jon keeps saying. And so I guess to conclude it, the whole stripping of the title, I guess we can't do that. We cannot strip Jon of the title right now as it stands. Unless Jon comes out in a few months, I think you can't really strip the champion with it. Inside 12 months, you can't strip a champion like Jon Jones. Inside 12 months.
Do you think the UFC has a responsibility within 9 months to say, okay, this is the date, 3 months from now?
I think maybe there might be a little bit of argument there for sure, like at the 9-month mark to like try to get things moving, at least to get some answers. Like if you're gonna be out for longer than a year, we are gonna take the title. You know what I mean? Something like that, but you could find that out in September versus wait all the way till December.
We're setting guidelines. I like that.
Yeah, but for Tom, Tom is in the hardest situation. I think that's why Jon keeps saying none of that means anything to me, because I think Jon's getting that whole thing where it's like, but Tom hasn't fought since like X month last year. Can we find out what month Tom fought last year?
Alexa, when was the last time Tom Aspinall fought?
HostNation.com. He fought last Friday, and the Chickasaw Nation boxing.
Dude, Alexa's like 0 for 20 for us.
I swear to God, she is.
Okay, July of last year.
You always fuck it up, bro.
July of last year.
So he's going on a year.
So he's 10 months. He's 10 months out right now.
Okay.
July 27th of last year. So he's about 10 months out. So, I know that sucks for Tom. But if Tom really wants to fight, stop crying about Jon Jones. That's what I got to say to Tom.
Create your own. I agree with what you said. That's really good. Create your own storyline. Create your own novella. And Jon Jones even said today, I don't know if I want to call it retired. I feel like I always have an ability to pop out and show them. I've had many breaks throughout my career. My identity outside of fighting is well intact. I'm genuinely enjoying life. I'm growing in different ways.
Good for you, dude. I don't got any problem with them. I wish the best for you. Everybody needs to evolve.
And and I don't have a problem with him playing the game. Yeah. I just don't want to him. I just hate the fact that he's putting himself in these. If I was dating, I saw him back on. That's like Marab sometimes when I see things of what Marab's doing. I'm like, Marab, what are you? Marab's fucking wild.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess from Dana's perspective, it's like, Jon, can you fight? And Jon's like, no. Let's say hypothetically, Jon's like, no, I don't want to fight till October of next year or of 2025 of this year.
Yeah.
Dana's like, why not? And Jon's like, personal reasons. I just don't want to. And then boom, now you see on social media, Jon's in Thailand doing a reality show with Nate Diaz. Dana's like, dude, you said you wanted to fight in October, and this is the fucking reason why.
You're on mopeds.
But hey, see, a lot of guys have to fight on the UFC's timeline, right? Jon Jones, I mean, this man has been here forever. You want to talk about one of the biggest things you can accomplish in MMA? Along with the title, and remember this one, this is one of the biggest things. Along with the title in MMA, number 2 is how long have you been in the UFC? Because you see it all the time, right? How many guys get cut?
All the
How many
time.
guys are someone today and are no one tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? No offense to these guys. Gilbert Burns, Vicente Luque.
It's hard to have longevity.
Right. And look at a guy like Nate Diaz, Jon Jones. People who can stay in this game and be a top dog for as long as they have been. That's not fucking easy, dude. Not at all. You know, so that's why Jon, he's a special character. You can't, there's not much you can do, you know? Sure, I mean, like, Jack Della Maddalena, look what Dana's doing about him. Dana's already promising to strip his ass if he gets injured. Jack just won the fucking title because you know what? Jack ain't been here as long as Jon Jones.
Right. He's still earning his stripes.
Yeah, it's the catch-22.
It is.